Are we having fun yet? Yes, we are. Welcome to the Kingdom. I'm Andy, and welcome to another 3 tips and tricks in Satisfactory. Sorry it's been so long. I didn't have 3 tips or tricks, and in 1 week I got 3 tips and tricks all in one go. And let's do this. So a lot of the fun stuff I find out is I will another way of fighting mobs, and I find this very interesting. So we have some mobs over here. These are my favorite ones to pick on when I have to fight because there's so many of them. There's one big one, 3 small ones, and it's good. So what usually is going on is, and I hope I lived through this, is you get into this situation, and if you use one of my other tips, which you use towers to get around, you get into this, and then they start firing at you, and you're like, okay, I need to get them, and yeah, here they are firing at me, and it can be very dangerous to shoot back down at them. So my tip is to do a thing I just invented called Fortnite-ing. I know it sounds really weird, doesn't it? Okay. So I'm gonna put down a thing. We're gonna put some walls on it. Another one, and then you put walls that have holes in them, and then you get down into it. But the benefit is, if you have yourself a gun, just like in Fortnite, you can use the holes to do a little fighting. So like, and I don't have a lot of ammo, but I should be able to take out most of these guys. Oh, where did they go? There's one right there. I got it. Still doing pretty good. Here's one. Got it. You get the feeling. I'll at least take down the big one. Oh, wow. He didn't get me. I probably could take out the rest of them, but I'm not going to. Unless they try to take me down as I try to leave. But we're going to get out of here and let them live. But like Fortnite-ing. So basically you build yourself a little thing to give the block bullets or projectiles and shoot out of the device. I have no idea if it's really useful, but I do find that it's much easier to fight when you have a whole bunch of spitting monsters, which is very good. Okay, so the second one, I'll have to make something for you guys, which is this man. So my last episode that I had on this channel was, actually it wasn't the last channel, it was the second to last. The last one I had when I went out and did stuff is this one right here, where I went out, collected stuff, learned my Fortnite-ing technique. I tried something out and I was like, oh, this works really well. And then I came back with my hard drives to try to get all the patterns I needed for a project I wanted to do. And I wanted to go upgrade to turbo fuel. And I went in, I did my things, and I didn't get any recipes I wanted. None. Every single time I did, all 3 times, terrible. But then I backed up, and the save I had that was closest to the thing without going too far back was just slightly after I put in the first hard drive. And that one came out exactly the same. But I'm like, okay. So I save again, just before I put it in, put the hard drive in, and it came up with something completely different. I'm like, okay, back up, do it again. Something different. So then you sit there, and then I have, for the last 2 days, every 10 minutes or so, gone in here, started the hard drive, waited 10 minutes. If it's what I needed, I saved. If it wasn't what I needed, which is 99% of the time, I reloaded. And I kept doing it until I got the 2 recipes I wanted. And I got them. I got them. I got it. The last one I got like 30 minutes ago. I had totally forgotten I had this thing set up. I went back and I was going to start getting ready for this episode, and lo and behold, it was just sitting there. Which is the third thing I have for you guys to teach you, and that is what I've learned is, in my opinion, the best recipe for power. The best. There are ways to tweak it. There are ways to get a little bit more out of it, and I did find a wiki on it, which they just tweaked it a little bit more. But when you have to put so much, the way I weigh it for the best is if you have to put way more effort in order to get more result, I like to get things a little easier, especially on this channel. So I'm going to meet you over in my oil production, and then I can show you what new things you can do with oil to get the best recipe for oil. See you in a second. Okay, we're back at my main oil factory. Not oil factory, but power factory. Power station. I'll call it a power station. This is normal fuel being, you know, the recipe is it comes in as crude, comes into here, crude becomes fuel. It has one alternative, which I go out and recycle over there, and then the fuel goes down this line and becomes power. Well, with three simple, and these are the three, this is my third one, 3 alternative recipes. And if you get these 3 things, which you can totally easily do, just get 3 hard drives, use my other technique, and it may take you 30 minutes if you're really lucky, or it may take you several days if you're unlucky. But the 3 recipes are compacted coal, heavy oil residue, and residue turbo fuel. I believe that's what it is. Well, the first one is made in a, let's quickly get this thing out so you guys can see it. It's made in, I believe, an assembler. I have enough space for here, but an assembler. And alternative compacted coal, and it uses coal and sulfur. So you get that, you pump it into your power station, and then these refineries, instead of it taking crude oil and making fuel, you want to have this wonderful recipe called alternative heavy oil residue. So instead of making fuel, you're making heavy oil residue. And it uses less crude oil, and you get more of it. And then you combine that with another section of ones where you alternate turbo heavy fuel. You take that turbo heavy fuel, put compacted coal, and you make turbo heavy fuel. And the reason you want to use these 2, there's 2 other ones. One, well, there's one more turbo fuel recipe, which is just says turbo fuel, alternative turbo fuel. It's good, and if it's the only thing you got, use it. But with these 2 additional recipes, you get more bang for your buck, as it were. So it uses more compacted coal, but less crude oil in the long range. And the one limiting factor you cannot overcompensate with in this game are pipes. Pipes have no upgrade. You can't upgrade pipes. You can't really split pipes into 2 to get more of everything, because it's still limited. You can't exit the machine, which is the pump over here. You can't exit the pump. That's actually over there. Exit the pump with 2 pipes. So you can never ever compensate with it. It's going to have a chokehold. It's going to have a chokehold no matter what. So it's going to, you're limited by pipes no matter what you do. So this recipe utilizes the fact that right now, for this very second of this is coming out, pipes have like a limit of like 300 M3, I believe, going through it at any given time flow. It utilizes less of the liquid portion and more of the coal, which you can ramp up the amount of stuff. And if you're like me, I now have the highest level conveyors. I can pump in a whole lot more of compacted coal to compensate. And I'm going to go from this particular factory right now, instead of it producing approximately, this thing I believe is getting about 8,000 gigawatts. I think it's about 8,000 gigawatts. I think I can push it to 35, 36 with turbo fuel and this recipe. I'm not 100% sure, and I won't know until after I do it, but stay tuned. I did say on one of my posts that I was going to do turbo motors first, but I'm going to use turbo. Yes, I will turbo, but I'm going to change the motors with fuel so that I can then do everything else I want to do without fear of power. And there you have it. Those are my 3. A better way of fighting those mobs, and 2, if you put them together, a great way to get fuel. And if you really want to know how to do it, how to set it up, how to put it together, those 3 tips and tricks, I'm going to do it. It's going to be the next part for my main series, and you can come and say hi and hit that subscribe button, and you'll be able to see someone do it and then learn from my mistakes, because I'm going to make some, and do it better. But thank you guys for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like button. If you love what you saw, hit the subscribe button. Thank you again for listening to me ramble on trying to explain why my 3 tips and tricks are tips and tricks. And I will see you guys later. And until next time, sayonara and ciao.